Jenny Hiebert is graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, four-year degree. Jenny, please.
In March of 2007, I was sitting on a beach in Mdumbi, South Africa. It was a Knowing Yourself week on the Out of Town program. That day we were talking about passions. As I began to reflect, a few words came to my mind: horses and special needs children. These were two of my passions, and the wheels of my mind quickly started turning as I thought of ways I could combine them. So there on the beach in South Africa, I decided that I wanted to work with some kind of program that involved helping children with disabilities through horseback riding. At that point, the dream was exciting, but also intimidating, as I had no idea that something like this even existed. But sitting there on the beach, I felt passionate enough that I would have pioneered my own field of study if I had needed to. After thinking about it more realistically for a while, I realized that psychology would be a good place to start this journey, since my end goal was really to work with and help people. Looking back now, I can see how the field of psychology has shaped me in many ways. I find that the better I understand human behavior and some of the reasons why people do the things they do, the more capable I am to treat others with compassion and respect. And while I have enjoyed most of my classes here at CMU, there have been a few that have more directly shaped my journey toward what I now know to be called equine-assisted psychotherapy. First, I learned valuable lessons for relating to people in the counseling theories and counseling techniques classes. In these classes, I first began to realize that while I still had the passion for helping children with disabilities, I might also be able to work with clients of all ages and walks of life. Working with children is a very different type of therapy, since they cannot analyze and articulate their thoughts like adults can. In some ways, that seemed easier for me to deal with than adults with their adult problems. However, through these counseling courses, I learned valuable skills on how to listen to, empathize, and engage with clients, which I find myself using in everyday life. It was in these classes where I began to appreciate the area of counseling as a whole. They broadened my area of interest, for which I am very thankful. Since the field of equine-assisted psychotherapy is not too well known, especially in rural Manitoba, it may be important for me to broaden my clientele base for this to become something I could actually make a living at. As a student goes through their four-year degree, it is at times easy to lose sight of the end goal. It just seems like we're sitting through class after class, and in my case, the passion that I once had on a beach in South Africa begins to fade. This academic year, however, I had two classes that helped renew my passions. In the fall semester, I was in a class entitled Qualitative Inquiry in the Social Sciences. This course departed from the dominant scientific method of quantitative research and focused on various qualitative methods such as discourse analysis, participatory action research, and interviewing. Our final project for this course involved creating a proposal for a hypothetical research study. I decided to focus mine around interviewing mothers of children with autism. I was able to carry out an actual interview with a woman that I know who has a daughter with autism. Through hearing her story and reading many articles on the subject, I learned the important role that parents play in the lives of their children, especially if they have a disability. In fact, many authors suggest that parents are the most influential people in terms of facilitating growth in a child with disabilities, even when compared to the multiple teachers, assistants, or psychologists that may be in the child's life. This new knowledge helped me understand the multiple avenues for achieving my goal of helping children with disabilities. Combining this with the beginnings of the counseling skills learned previously helped me see the beginning of a very holistic approach. Helping both the child directly and the parents as they raise their child would surely lead to the greatest benefits for all involved. Finally, just this past semester, I took a traumatic conflict course, which integrated both psychology and peace and conflict studies. This class looked at all areas of trauma, including victims, perpetrators, and healing. For our final project in this course, we were given quite a bit of freedom to be creative with the form our project took. This finally allowed me to have the time to do some in-depth research on the field of equine-assisted psychotherapy. I studied the field and its benefits in the healing and prevention of trauma and took this opportunity to plan the future therapy center that I would someday like to operate. Very briefly, equine-assisted psychotherapy is an experiential therapy which involves the use of horses. Through understanding how the client acts with the horse, the client can begin to learn more about him or herself. Horses are an especially helpful animal in this regard because they mirror a human's body language in very clear ways. A simple example is illustrated by learning the distinction between being assertive and aggressive. Horses need an assertive leader, but as soon as we cross the line to aggressiveness, the horse will either become angry with us or shy away. By learning this distinction first with a horse, the client is then taught, through therapy, how to translate this into everyday interactions with people in her life. This approach to therapy is valuable in connection to trauma, but also simply as another option for anyone who might benefit from counseling. So, my time here at CMU has been a journey, and I truly believe that this is only the beginning. CMU has been a place where I have been encouraged to make my dreams come true. What I now know to be the growing field of equine-assisted psychotherapy was just another crazy dream 4 years ago, perhaps from too much of that African sun. I'm looking to the next stage of this journey and where it will take me from here. I have begun looking into a program at Prescott College in Prescott, Arizona, in order to get a master's in counseling psychology with a concentration in equine-facilitated mental health. This program in Prescott is one of the few like it in North America and would bring me much closer to my goal of having my own therapy center someday. As this is an ingratitude presentation, it would only be right for me to close by saying a big thank you to everyone at CMU who has shaped my path. All of the staff and faculty that I have come into contact with here have only encouraged me to live my dreams and given me tools to help me along the way. So on behalf of the graduating class, thank you for helping us along this journey.